Hey guys, it's Joshua Zelaya Productions, and today we'll be talking about the Aputure LS1 versus the 180 watt bicolor panel from DNO. Roll the intro. Absolutely in love with this light.
Save up to $7,200 on our gourmet chef-prepared.
A couple of months ago, DNO reached out to us and they decided to send us a couple of light panels. So for a few months, we decided to put them into our wedding and commercial work. We definitely have some pros and cons for us to share here today, and we decided, of course, what is the light that really comes close, that really compares against this light. So we came up with the Aputure LS1. As soon as I received the slides, I decided to call my friend Manuel from Nightfall Media. I knew he was going to bring in some great input since he also does weddings and commercial.
When Josh reached out to me and let me know that DNO saw our last video and decided to send us some of their newest panels for us to test out, I was ecstatic. They sent us everything we needed to get started with putting these into our workflow in both commercial and wedding settings. They gave us a couple of batteries, a couple of lights, and I just couldn't be any happier. You guys may notice that the B-roll that we're showing you is of the Aputure LS1S, which is Aputure's daylight balance panel. However, we're basing this review on our experience of the LS1C, which is Aputure's bicolor panel, to give you a better apples to apples comparison. So originally, we actually got the Mark 1 version of this light when DNO decided to send this out to us. However, since then, they've made some, various improvements, some changes, and now we're down to the Mark 2 version of this light.
There's a lot of aspects we look for in a light, so we decided to kind of develop this point system for us to kind of break down those aspects and help you kind of digest all this information at once. Let's talk about one of the most important things, which is price. The Aputure comes at $695 and the DNO light comes at $799. Now there is an $100 difference, and there's definitely some pros and cons within these two lights. DNO have added a couple of new components to the new panel that I'm very excited to share with you guys. One of them is going to be the LCD screen, which allows you to not only see the dimming capability of how bright the light is, but also the bicolor capability. As far as the Aputure Light, we do have the capability to change the bicolor setting in the balance controller. The second component they added is going to be the remote control. We have the Aputure here, and then we have the DO Light remote control here. As you can see, they're fairly the same size. In terms of build quality, they both are kind of plastic. In the DO remote, you can see that you can control the color, and also you can control the dimmer. Now that's pretty cool that they added one button here that kind of gives you the 5600 Kelvin, 45 and 32. As we continue playing with the DNO remote, we did notice you have to kind of point directly at the back of the DNO light for you to transmit the signal. For the Aputure, you can kind of just point it anywhere, and the Aputure is really good at picking up the signal to be able to change the settings. This is something for you to consider, because if you cannot point the remote directly at the back of the lights, then you might be running into a challenge. Now for the Aputure, I don't think you're going to be running into the challenge because it picks up the signal very well. Let's talk about power. For the Aputure, it carries a ballast system, which means you have to carry 3 different types of cables for you to use AC power. Now for the DO lights, if you want to use AC power, you only have to carry 1 cable. So that's definitely a great component that the DO light brings into the table.
So the disadvantage of having a ballast system, however, is that when you're trying to run and gun, I'm talking interviews, I'm talking weddings, really having a ballast with wires really gives you a lot to have to take care of. One of my biggest issues that we've had on set with the Aputure is the ballast cable breaking, and that's where DNO has the advantage. You don't have to worry about snagging cables. You don't have to worry about a long setup time. You literally put the battery on and go. And that's super simple, something that I can really get behind when it comes to running and gunning on events.
So let's talk about brightness. At 1 meter, we measure the aperture at 7500 lux. And the DO light at 4800 lux. That is a difference of 2700 lux, which means that is 1.5 times difference of power. Another aspect that we believe that contributes to the brightness of a light is going to be the beam angle. The aperture comes at 45 degrees and the DO light comes at 120 degrees. What does this mean to you?
This means that even though the aperture is a lot brighter, the use cases are completely different. When you talk about the DNO, I see this light being useful for interviews, anything where you need a soft, beautiful wrapping around light, because this beam angle is just amazing. The aperture, I could see it for more like things like weddings, when you want to have the dance floor illuminated. You want to have somewhat soft, but a very directional light. Aputure really excels in this. So when it comes down to it, really, power is the name of the game, but use case is really where it shines.
Second option you have for you to power up this light is going to be V-mount power. DNO is very well known for their V-mount batteries. I was very fortunate enough they sent us the 190 watt hour V-mount batteries, which is the biggest battery they provide. And the awesome thing about this is that we even use it with our camera rigs, and we shoot weddings where we never turn off the camera and it runs all day for us. That's an awesome thing. And again, I am, powering up the follow focus system, the monitor, and as well the camera with this. So this is an awesome battery for that. As big as this battery is at 190 watt hour, it's great that you can just put this in the V-mount capability that the Aputure Light has, or the V-mount capability the DO light has. I love how I can put this battery directly in the back of the light, because now I don't have to be dealing with cables when it comes with the DO panel. A couple of months ago, I was using the Aputure Light on a wedding, and of course, for you to be able to use the V-mount battery on the ballast, you still have to use one cable, and of course that cable snagged and kind of ripped the cable apart.
So in conclusion, my favorite parts about this DNO light are very simple. You get to really run and gun this light very easily because that onboard battery mount.
All right guys, hopefully our perspective helped you decide which light best work for you. If you can, I would definitely recommend for you to have both of these lights. I really do love how soft the DO light is, and I do love how directional the aperture is. So maybe I could use that as a kicker and use the DO as a key light. So it's just so many different options you can use these lights, but do consider what you need this light for. Again, I want to take the time to thank DNO for sending out the panels and these awesome V-mount batteries. It has been such an awesome pleasure to test out their products in the past few months, and also kind of seeing how they're listening to the community and kind of getting the feedback and making the products even better. So keep an eye on this company, guys. I'm excited to say we're definitely putting a lot more effort in YouTube this coming year. So definitely drop a comment and let me know what type of content you guys wanted to see. And as well, I do appreciate everybody that watched the Godox and Aputure video. Link in the description if you haven't seen that.